So a question I get asked a lot is, what should I eat before a big game, a big competition? And traditionally, an answer for that type of question would be, oh, eat a lot of carbs, eat a big pasta meal, something that will give you energy. And I think that's a terrible idea, actually. My recommendation is don't eat anything specific, don't eat anything different than you would normally eat. And especially do not eat within the few hours, like 2 hours or so before your competition or your game, because you're probably going to set yourself up for failure. And I'm going to explain to you guys why I made that recommendation. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit to why in the first place is eating a big pasta meal or a big carb meal before a competition is or has been a traditional recommendation. So you see, the idea behind that is you want to fuel your body, you want to give yourself energy in the form of carbohydrates. And those carbohydrates get digested, get broken down into the digestion process, and they get sent to your muscles, to your muscle glycogen is what it's called. And your muscle glycogen gets stored with the glucose, and then that fuels your muscles during your performance. Okay, so that's the idea behind that recommendation. The problem with that is the blood sugar response that you'll get from eating a big pasta meal or a big carb meal before a competition, right? So let's see here if I can find a marker. Okay, so this is your normal blood sugar. Okay, you start on pretty normal constant level, and then when you eat food, that will get impacted. Your blood sugar and your insulin levels will get impacted from what you eat. And a lot of times when you eat a lot of carbs, a lot of sugar, a lot of pasta, whatever it is, your blood sugar will spike up. Okay, and that doesn't stay there. Like, that'll normalize or stabilize over time, but a lot of times what happens is before we get back to normal is there's a crash, and then eventually it will come back down to normal levels. So the worst thing that you want during a competition or a big game is to find yourself anywhere between like here and here, where you're like crashing in energy. You feel like you're sluggish, like you're dragging, and a lot of times that can happen from eating a big carb meal. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's not a very good idea. My second one is digestion. So if you're eating too close to your game within the 2 hours or so, even 3 hours for some people, if you eat within 3 hours of your game, like, you're still going to be in the heavy digestion process of that food, of that meal that you just had. So you're going to be digesting while you're playing. Again, like, that's not where you want your body to be putting its effort. You want to be competing. You want to be doing what you do best on the field or on the court or on the ice or wherever your game is. But again, like, being in a heavy digestive state when you're performing is definitely not something you want. And the last point, which brings me to why I or what my alternative would be to eating a big carb meal, or my recommendation is don't change anything, don't do anything differently, eat the same stuff you would normally. Because let's say you have your glycogen stores, and then if you constantly fuel yourself properly with enough protein, enough carbs on a regular basis for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, if you do eat snacks, then your glycogen store should be like relatively full on a regular basis. So like, if after every practice and every game and every time you train, you feed yourself properly, and you're giving your body the nutrients it needs and the carbs it needs to recover from your physical effort, then you should be pretty much always full. So like, there's really no point in overloading yourself with a ton of carbs or a ton of pasta or a ton of sugar before a game, because there's no need for it if you're really fueling yourself properly. And that's what I recommend to people, is have balanced meals throughout your day, And especially after games, after practices, after training is when it's important to refuel your body in order to be back at that status. So hopefully that all makes sense. If you enjoyed the video, please share, like it, and if you have any question, don't hesitate to get in touch. And have a good one.